Hello students, this is a video tutorial explaining how to do the summary part of your summary response paper. And my girls are getting ready this morning for school, so you might hear them in the background, hopefully not. So I'm trying to be fairly concise in this tutorial just to give you kind of the basics of what you need to know. And if you still feel stuck after this, please get more help. I'm here to help you, but I also want to give you time to get started on this. The first thing I want to do is just go to the prompt and make sure that we understand what we're doing in this summary part. So it says here, in this paper, you will summarize an incident in the book where Trevor demonstrates this ability to be unbothered by the pain in his life and describe his response to this pain. And so what you're going to do is you're going to summarize an incident that happens in this book and also make sure that you explain Trevor's response to it. And this paper is 500 words, which I know sounds like a lot, but it's not so long that you want to spend a long time on your summary. You really want the bulk of your paper to be your own response to this, but you do want to include enough information that you can be clear about what's happening in this incident so that the rest of your paper makes sense. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, let's look at this. All right, so your summary is going to come here, but I always encourage students to kind of write their paper out of order. We're not going to do the introduction and conclusion right now. We're going to start with our summary, and then we're going to do our response. And when you write your summary, you can use Racer, but if you don't feel like that's working for you, that kind of ordering to talk about what happens in the story, I think you're okay kind of going on your own and just writing in order what happens in the story and how Trevor responds to it. Okay. But my model that I worked on earlier in the year with you did follow Racer. So if that is helpful to you, that's fine. Okay, so let's look at my modeled example with the summary and response to how adults should be more like kids. So that's kind of taking us back. That seems like a lifetime ago. But you're going to start by just introducing like what happens or what incident you're talking about or how this fits into the book or Trevor's life. And I already gave you some sentence starters to kind of work on starting this. But if you want to come up with your own, that's fine. And you could kind of use my modeled example here to say, Trevor Noah's book is focused on, and then talk about it. And then you're going to get to be more specific about the incident that you're talking about. And you might also explain where it happens in the book. Is it more in the beginning? Is it at the end? Or you could mention what part of his life this came in. Was it when he was older? Was it when he was really young? Was it still under apartheid? So you might give just a little bit of context about the time period, okay? And then you're just going to go on and talk about how he talks about this incident. And here I have some examples, and you can use some of this. Like in his book, you can change some of the wording here and make it your own. So if you want to go back to my modeled example and use that, you can. And then you're going to talk about how Trevor tells his story. So tell the incident that happened, and you can kind of use quotes from it, just like I did here, and you could say, for example, Trevor Noah writes, and you could have a quote from the book. Make sure you put the page number that it comes from. So if there's a page number, you're just gonna, at the end here, write that. Okay. We'll go over that a little toward the end just to make sure we all have that. Okay. And then you need to explain or kind of so you have your text evidence here, and then you need to explain that text evidence. And your explanation is really going to focus on how Trevor responds to this. You're going to explain how this shows how he responds to pain. Okay. And then you're going to get to your next detail from the text. You can either put it in your own words or you can use a quote from the text. You can really summarize what happens over a course of a couple pages. You can put that into one sentence. And then again, you're providing some explanation here about how he's responding to this. Now, it might turn out that you have several sentences that are details from the text, and then just some explanation at the end of the paragraph about how this book shows how Trevor responds to pain. Okay. You do need to have at least like one or two pieces of like direct quotations from the book, but you can include like a lot of details from the text also. that are kind of put in your own words. I don't want to tell you how long this actually needs to be because it's really going to depend on the incident that you have in your book. We are actually going to go back on Friday and add some transition phrases to this. So if you're already doing that naturally, that's great. If you're like, I don't know how to do the transitions, but I see that you were supposed to, I'm going to help you go back and add those. So don't stress out about that part yet. Okay. I hope this kind of gives an overview of what you need to do, and I hope it was helpful. Again, if you need more questions or more help or you get stuck, I am here to help you. I think sometimes we just need a few words, and then sometimes we can get our thoughts back on track and together. So I'm here to help. Thank you.